Hey guys, welcome back to What Next? And my holiday edition, we're going to go ahead and go with Elf. Now, if you haven't seen this one, please do yourself a favor and go ahead and watch this now. This should be a staple in your holiday movie watch list. I think if you look at any holiday watch list, this is probably on everybody's list. Should be at least definitely in the top 5, top 10. But for all of us that have seen it going into this, let's get into this one. So, again, watched it again for the holiday season, and then it struck me, you know what? I do have a lot of questions. I know this doesn't leave a lot of open-ended questions, but, we've all heard by now there was a sequel planned. It got turned down for whatever reasons, so we never got a sequel out of this. They were probably looking to do one, maybe two more, but who knows? So, let's get into this one. So let's start with obviously the main character. We got Buddy the Elf. The end of the day, he saves Christmas, gets his new family, finds his dad. Ends up married, has a baby. So going into, I guess, what next? I'm curious as to how they would show him kind of going into his new life, because now he's he's a little more important in the North Pole. I'm not quite sure what he's got going on back in New York with his dad and his brother. And his stepmom, but now he's married to Jovi. He's got a son. It looks like. So we do see Buddy. Obviously he's very goofy and lighthearted. So I'm curious to see how they would have showed him being a father and what that would have entailed for him. Maybe it would have been more as they could have just focused on like the North Pole aspect of it, or maybe vice versa, him just deciding to stay in New York. Somehow I think those two worlds would have collided again. Not sure if there would have been essentially like a bad guy, but some situation would have popped up to where everything would have had to come in turmoil. Obviously, it would have been hilarious to see how Buddy the Elf keep going. But yeah, I'm just curious how he manages his new life. Like, he's got a wife, he's got a kid, he's got a family in New York, he's got a family in the North Pole. So it's just, I'm curious to see how they would have maneuvered his character through all this now that he's kind of grown into his own, essentially. But he's still a big kid at heart. At the end, he's sitting on his, dad, Papa Elf's lap, still crushing him. So he's still that little kid at heart, which is what we all love about Buddy the Elf. So now we're talking about Buddy's wife, Jovi. We see her. She's still, the last time we really see her, she's still kind of or she gets fired from the department. Sorry, I was blanking on the name of these are the Gimbals. Is that what it is? Right, Gimbals. So now that she's off on her life, clearly a lot of time's gone by after the events. We kind of see, like, because we see Buddy with a baby and everything. So at least a year has gone by. So I'm curious what's happened in this time frame with everybody, especially her. So now clearly she's got a good voice. She's a singer. She was working at the department store. So it's, what is she doing now? Like, did they settle home in the North Pole and she's kind of, whatever you do in the North Pole working? Like, maybe she's helping out with the toys or something. Like, I'm curious where they go with her character as well, because obviously she's the Mrs. now. She's Mrs. Buddy. So her, and especially with the child now, like, again, I'm just curious as to where all that lands, all of them. Now you go into Walter, his dad, hilarious. So I'm guessing he's still in New York doing his thing, probably living it up even better now. He had his Buddy the Elf book that comes out and probably is a big success now. I'm just curious as to how he kind of intertwines with Buddy's new life and how Buddy intertwines with him. I'm guessing somehow, like, I bet some pressure would have happened to where he needs to create another book and probably needs these ideas, and is looking to Buddy to help him out with this Christmas series. Since Buddy is from the North Pole, I think that is going to be something he was trying to help him with. Like, all right, let's create this series for because he's a publisher. That's what he does. So yeah, I think that would have been a good intertwine of the three of them. Then obviously you have, the other characters that come into play along the way. You got Buddy's, his Papa Elf, which is essentially his foster dad, raising him. I'm sure you see him plenty of times. You got Emily, which is Walter's wife, or essentially Buddy's stepmom. His brother Michael, obviously he'd been growing her a little more. So I think maybe Michael would probably be, transitioning back and forth. I see him kind of staying with Buddy in the North Pole for, maybe he spends summers or Christmases there or something now. I think he kind of works his way in there and is a little more involved in going forward in all their lives. But yeah, I think just the whole dynamic of all of them would have worked very well moving forward. I think a story would have been great to see them all kind of intertwined with each other. And you could have brought in, I'm going to call them little fan favorites, to pop up here and there. You had, his boss from the department store, Wanda. Hilarious guy, Faison Love. I think you'd have just shown him pop up somewhere else to where him and Buddy have like a quick little interaction, and that would have been funny to see him kind of back in. And also, Peter Dinklage, he played Miles, the guy with all the ideas for the books. I think you bring him in real quick. You see that Walter and Buddy are doing great. And, they have this Christmas story that's going on. It's doing big things, and maybe he wants to be a part of it now. Like the guy that they are bringing in to get these great ideas. Now all of a sudden he wants ideas from them. I think a quick little cameo like that would have been great. But yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things that time just kind of got to the best of him for any type of sequel. Unfortunately, James Caan has passed away. Great actor. The actor that played Papa Elf is gone. The actor that played Santa Claus, he's passed away as well. So lost a lot of good people in this story going along the way after all these years. But hey, it has been 20 years since this came out, which is crazy thinking it's been that long. But yeah, so that's all I got on this one. Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy Christmas Eve. Look forward to you next time. Take care.